Alrighty, hi everyone, I am Blaze here. Today's video is a double hitter. It is a guide on playing Bard in the Omens of War, Dragons of Norath, Depths of Darkhollow era, and the footage behind me is showing the quest to get the crazy DPS discipline called Thousand Blades. So the Thousand Blades discipline, it was added in the Depths of Darkhollow expansion, or DoDH, and this expansion, it starts all underground from an entrance in the Nectalos forest just outside the Dark Elf starting city of Neriak. Depths of Darkhollow has three notable features. They have a progression quest line for a few new spells and disciplines. They have spirit shrouds where you can take the form of different monsters. And you have Mayong Mistmore himself in his attempt to reach godhood. You can fight him in raid content, and he is the master over Castle Mistmore. He is the first Norathian entity to become a vampire. So this Thousand's Blade discipline is crazy. When I click the button of it, DPS mode is on. It makes you land hits almost every single swing. It also boosts your critical hit chance, and the damage on those criticals goes up. It lasts a minute, it uses endurance, and it has about a 33-minute cooldown timer. It's on the same timer as Pure Tone though, which is the discipline that makes you act as if you're playing the best instruments in the game. It makes your songs that much better for all your group members. So if you use Thousand Blades, Pure Tone will be down with it too. So I've heard some bards argue whether to use this or Pure Tone on raids. Pure Tone could help out group members do better from the enhanced song effects, but from what I've seen, it's not much anymore. The modifier on the Epic 2.0 is so big that any boost from Pure Tone is really minor in comparison to what it used to be. Pure Tone can't make your haste any better. It can't make your mana regen better. It can only boost a little bit of extra proc damage, maybe a little extra attack stat, a little extra damage shield, resists. It really doesn't do as much as it used to. I definitely prefer Thousand Blades right now as my go-to, let's play the smackdown discipline. So the quest to get this discipline, it's part of the Depths of Darkhollow progression questline, and it's for level 69 spells. It's called Rescue Cicero. It involves going to an instanced version of the Hive and rescuing a gnome caught by a bunch of drachnids. Once you break him out of his cocoon, you have to escort him and keep him alive on the way out to the zone exit. And he takes samples from other cocoons on the way, and it'll spawn drachnids that you have to fight. So getting this discipline just involves completing this quest and then hailing Brother Hidden Path in the Undershore. And bingo presto, it's in your inventory. Anyways, different subject. So what is it like to play a bard during this era? It's great. It's really great. So I have three main songs I always play right now. I play my HP mana songs, #1. I play my V2 haste and attack and damage shield song, and then I'll do my third song being an over haste and a spell damage boost. And then for the fourth song, this is where there's a bit more variety than there ever has been for bards. So I will play an AoE slow if we got a lot of mobs in camp. I can play V-Shan for a little extra damage shield and resists. I can play Vesegrin for a damage reduction effect out of the rune it creates. Or I can even use a proc song that comes from Dragons of Norath progression called Stormblade that just goes off like crazy. It has a very high proc rate, and it causes melee group members to hit for 100 damage each proc. But for some reason, I can do 419. I can hit for 419 damage every single time it goes off, and it goes off a lot. I really like to use this one actually the most out of all the options. For group buffs, I keep up a 15-minute buff called Symphony of Battle. It is a 60% V2 haste and a little bit of a bonus to attack and strength. And it comes from my Plane of Time sword. You can also get another weapon in Gates of Discord that has the same clickable buff. And I will also keep up a 9-point damage shield from the Blazing Brand Braces, or you can also get the Singing Steel Bracer to do that. I will shrink people with my Luklin era Vexthal Bracer, And the really big buff here that is great from this era is the Epic 2.0, the clicky on it, where for a minute I can significantly boost the DPS of my group. And the cooldown is so short that you can just spam this thing. The cooldown is just 3 minutes, so you can be very liberal with its usage. I use it pretty much every single time that we have a big fight. Like if there's 2 or 3 mobs, I'll just click it, no big deal. It'll be up and ready again in only maybe a minute after the fight's done. AA and discipline wise, alternate advancement and discipline wise, Bards get a lot more DPS burns in this era. You have a AA that summons swarm pets, you have a reoccurring stun dot, and 2 ways to increase your hit chance and critical hit damage. And it gets even better into the Serpent Spine expansion, not that far away, where they get a new AoE mana nuke, and they get an endurance using nuke that just goes crazy. Bards can really parse high on competitive raid fights in Serpent Spine, from what I've been told. Instrument modifier wise, instruments. Well, instruments are largely obsolete. There still are some instruments that are better than the Epic 2.0 than any gear I have, but the bonuses that I get from that aren't really worth losing the DPS now. And I almost never bandolier swap anymore to swap to instruments. Might change again in the future, but right now it doesn't matter. This is the big benefit of this era, is the changes made to crowd control. Pretty much the only tool I've had for the longest time to crowd control has been just Mez, because it's the only thing that's actually kept pace with the level of the mobs. Charming has almost always been such a low level cap that it's been virtually unusable. When I was level 60, I could only charm level 51s, which you're never going to run into that grouping content. Those are light blues. You want to kill dark blues. So for the longest time, charm has just been completely unusable, except for really niche content. And now in Omens of War, it adds a charm that works on mobs at level 68. The level cap is 70. You can charm mobs that are 2 levels below you, and this is huge, huge. It finally makes charm a viable form of crowd control for grouping content, for actual EXP grouping content. And the benefits of charm, it lasts almost 4 times longer as a mez. It lasts for a minute as opposed to 18 seconds. It makes fights go quicker because you have extra DPS. And instead of being tied down mezzing, you can play extra songs for that full minute to help your group out more. And one of my favorite things to do with charm is actually to use it to pull. If I see a big swarm of mobs, I'll just charm one of the mobs, send it at the swarm, and my pet, that charm pet, will hold aggro on all the different mobs. I won't need to mez. It's actually what you do for charm kiting. It's a form of soloing that Bards can do. It's pretty difficult to use it for soloing though, because the range of the charm is very small. I almost always have to get into aggro range to be able to cast it. So I wouldn't use it for soloing because it could be kind of dangerous. But it's great for grouping. And what's nice too is I was looking at further expansions past this. What happens? What are the level caps of charm? And it seems to stay pretty consistent of only 2 to 3 levels below the maximum level cap. And of a last note, in this video, you will see me clicking this little silver ring right as the fight is over, and that's the Goblin Gazuki ring. It lets me instantly break charms. It's a really, really useful item. And the last thing I will mention here in this video is pulling as a bard is very nice in this expansion too. You have your 2.5 minute long Selos, so you don't have to constantly keep Selos up. You have lulls. You got snares to split, you got mezzes to split, you can do your charm, you have invulnerabilities, you can pull with a 55% slow that lasts for a minute, you have resist debuffs, you have 2 AAs that can instantly hit a mob so you don't have to break melody, and then the big one of them all is the Fading Memories AA that lets you wipe all aggro instantaneously for 12% of your mana pool. It's your do-over button. So really, you have a lot of tools to pull, and you can do whatever really the situation warrants you need to do. But unfortunately, bard pulling abilities aren't really keeping up as well with monks, because their Feign Death doesn't cost any resources. Whereas Fading Memories, a bard's aggro drop, you only got maybe 8 of them before you're out of mana. Whereas monks can just go on all day long, no big deal. But fortunately, the Serpent Spine expansion later causes the fade cost to go down from 12% to just 6% of your mana pool, which is a very big improvement. It makes it a lot more viable. But thank you all for watching. I will see you in the next video.